Welcome, ladies and gents. Chris Andre here. You can find me at BetBoxing on Twitter for boxing-related tweets, or you can subscribe to the channel and get notifications whenever a new video is uploaded. Let's talk boxing. This is going to be a controversial video, and hopefully it gets to stay up. I know a couple of you have felt in one of the videos I did recently that I was over-exaggerating or overestimating or just plain wrong and paranoid about this idea that there is censorship going on whenever you go against the mainstream narrative in social media. Well, it's happened to me in the last 24 hours. CBC Boxing, a very, very good channel. Check out his channel. Put out a video. I left a comment. He messaged me to say, thanks a lot for your comment, but why did you delete the comment? It was a controversial topic, and the comment was a controversial comment. I didn't delete it. I didn't take it down. It was taken down for me. Carl Hennigan, professor at Oxford University of Evidence-Based Science, an elite-level epidemiologist, an elite internationally acclaimed scientist at an elite university, came out and wrote an article discussing the effectiveness of those muzzles. See, even the fact that I've got to take algorithms into account tells you that there's censorship going on. So I'm going to call them muzzles. Taking the effectiveness of muzzles into account, he looked at various data and studies, and he said that they don't actually protect you from this thing that has us under house arrest. It doesn't actually protect you at all. In fact, this is backed by observational data, which shows that wherever mandatory muzzling has been put in, you will see the cases then rise exponentially and drastically too. He also explained, this is also backed up by a Vietnamese study and many other studies, one in the New England Journal of Medicine in May 2020, discussing the effectiveness. There was a study out of Denmark, the largest ever, that observed this, but there was one in Vietnam, which was one of the most thorough studies ever carried out, which found that wearing that muzzle significantly increases, I quote, significantly increases your chances of a respiratory infection due to moisture retention, poor air filtration, and reuse of cloth. And what happened when he wrote this article, one of the world's elite scientists in his field? Facebook decided to take his article down and fact check him. A bunch of tech nerds who are not scientifically literate told a scientist who's one of the elite scientists in the world, medical scientists, that he's wrong about a medical scientific topic and that he shouldn't have a platform. But anyway, the reason I bring this up is because this video too is going to be a controversial video, and I hope it gets to stay up. Angela Stanton King, who I was not aware of, it says on her Twitter profile, she's got a blue tick. It says criminal justice expert, political commentator, owner of Stanton Pub House, founder of American King Foundation, a national bestseller and TV star, 195,000 followers. So I'm sure our American subscribers here might know who she is. Here in the UK, I'm sorry, without meaning to be rude, I'm not aware of her. She put out a tweet to say, how many sports scholarships did our girls just lose to transgender men with the signing of Joe Biden's new executive order? Now, for those of you that are not aware, Joe Biden has signed an executive order, which I believe reverses, don't hold me to this again, like I said, I'm not too au fait with the intricacies of this particular law, but I believe he's reversed a block that Trump had on transgender women, so biological men, competing against biological women. Now, even if that's not quite right, the fact of the matter is this executive order allows that. Now it will start taking place. And what she's talking about is that, you know, there have been many girls, many women, young women who have dedicated their lives to pursuing excellence in their sport. And often they come from poverty-stricken backgrounds, often they're ethnic minority backgrounds too. And it is a big, you know, they haven't had perhaps access to education and so on and so forth, or at least not a high level of education. And this is their ability to get that scholarship. They couldn't afford otherwise to go to university, to get that scholarship to change their lives. And she's basically saying, look, when the biological men who identify as women are going to compete against these women, they're not going to have a chance. And so they're going to miss out on achieving their dreams. Now, let's talk about it from a boxing perspective and the physical perspective of this. I want you to think of a guy who's a puncher, but who's not necessarily an elite level guy. A guy who's not a cash cow, who's not making money in the men's game. Think along the lines of someone like Waddy Camacho here in the UK, Darnell Boone in the United States, Ovil McKenzie. British fans will know him. I believe Ovil's, is he Jamaican or Bayesian? I think no, he's not Bayesian. I think he's Jamaican origin. whatever, huge puncher. The point is he'll be known in the Caribbean too. People will know who Ovill McKenzie is. Guy who has dropped Tony Bellew, a guy who's Enzo Macronelli. He's been in there with guys and he's a scary puncher. Imagine these guys decide, you know what, I never made it in the men's game. I've got heavy hands, but I didn't make that money. So I'm going to decide to transition. I want to become a millionaire. I want to identify as a woman. And these guys go in and fight biological women. Now, before you think this is very far-fetched, this has already happened in MMA. There's a fighter called Fallon Fox. Fallon Fox is a biological man who identifies as a woman. And Fox, sorry, I don't mean to misgender anyone. Fox broke the orbital bone and cheekbone of Tamika Brents, a woman. Now you explain to me how you marry, because often it's progressives and feminists that support this sort of thing. You tell me how you marry the idea of a biological man literally breaking the face of a biological woman. I'm not talking about what your wider opinion is on transgenderism. I'm not talking about that. Everyone's got their opinions. You have that. This is a boxing channel. I'm not here to discuss the science of that or the societal impacts of that, or forget that. I'm not interested in that. This is a boxing channel. We're talking boxing now. You tell me how you justify a biological man literally breaking the face of a woman and you celebrating it. Tell me how you justify, so I'm particularly interested in those that support this thing from Joe Biden, how you justify the scholarships being taken away from girls and given to transgender women. Let me know what would happen if one of these guys, imagine what, listen, I know Clarissa Shields likes to run her mouth, and quite frankly, I'm not sure if she does it just for the hype and the interest she's trying to generate, or whether she actually believes it. But she's talking nonsense when she comes out and she says, I will beat Gennady Golovkin because he can't box. he'll batter her inside 10 seconds. She wouldn't last one exchange. Go and watch the sparring session, if you can still find it, between Katie Taylor, who's a very skilled female boxer, and Guillermo Rigondeaux. She can't lay a glove on him. He's not even fighting her. He's just moving around and she can't even time him. There's a difference in hand-eye coordination, physicality. It's just proven, guys. There is a difference. It's got nothing to do with who's superior as a species or as a gender. We're not talking about that. We're talking about physical discrepancies between the genders. You are exposed to testosterone for a large portion of your life. Then you have some people saying, yeah, but if you're going to start taking estrogen, it will even it out. No, it doesn't. Because you've been exposed to testosterone for a certain amount of time. You've got thicker jaw, thicker skull, bigger bone structure. Your musculoskeletal system's entirely different. Okay, different shape, different size, different weight. Well, what estrogen does is that, and I learned this actually from a Joe Rogan podcast, which covered this topic years ago. What estrogen does is that it actually thickens the bones, or rather it reduces bone, the reduction of the rate of reduction of bone density. It slows that, it stops that, and it can thicken your bones. So now not only do you have a more muscular physical specimen, you have somebody that within that is a thicker bone. So you have a thicker bone wrapped in a bigger muscle mass and bigger, wider bone structure, bigger hands, bigger head, bigger jaw. There is no level playing field here, guys. And what happens if one woman gets killed by a transgender woman in a boxing ring? We've already spoken about Fallon Fox breaking Tamika Brent's orbital bone and cheekbone. What happens if someone dies? Are we going to get those pray emojis that people put up and pretend that they care? Or are we going to see them defiant and doubling down and saying, well, listen, we've seen men fighting men before and male fighters have died. So just because this happened this time, it doesn't mean it's because of this. It could have happened anyway. I'm assuming that's the reaction we'd get, right? This is ludicrous. It's dangerous. And political ideology should not come in the way of the safety of women, nor should it affect women's rights in sport. And in other aspects of society, I'll let you discuss. It's a boxing channel, like I said. Thanks for watching. Tell me what your position is on this. Listen, I know I'm going to get 99% of people agreeing with me on this. I've got no doubt about that, to be honest with you. But I'm particularly interested in hearing from those people that don't agree with me on this. People that do think it's okay. How do you justify those things we've spoken about? I'm genuinely interested. Thanks for watching. Chat to you soon. Take care and God bless.